Hi, and welcome back. In our two previous exercises, we looked at a fruit salad as our product. We looked at every single product backlog item being the different pieces of fruit, and we estimated them both in terms of effort for preparing them and value with regards to our customers, being kids between the age of 4 and 8. Once we have these numbers in terms of effort and value, we can use this for a very simple prioritization. In order to visualize this, I usually use a matrix. It looks the following way. At the top, from left to right, we have our value axis. Then, from top to bottom, we have our effort axis. Based on our scale 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8, both for effort and value, we get to see 4 quadrants. Now, we can map every single product backlog item into this prioritization matrix. Fairly quickly, we get an overview with regards to our prioritization. Of course, we start with those items that are in our top right quadrant. For example, the banana, with the low effort estimation of 1 and a high value estimation of 8. Banana, strawberry, and maybe some other pieces of fruit that end up in our top right quadrant are literally low-hanging fruit, the things we should start out with. Then we can move to the next quadrants, and ultimately we end up with the items at the bottom, which are the lowest value with the highest effort. For example, the coconut. Now, this type of prioritization considers 2 dimensions. The first one being the value, the second one being the effort. You can also look at it as some kind of return on invest, value for effort. When a product owner does prioritization, they in many cases need to account for other dimensions as well. One dimension could be technical dependencies that the developers highlight towards the product owner. In our current scenario, there are no technical dependencies. Each of these items can be delivered individually without impacting the others. Now let's visualize a technical dependency in our prioritization matrix. I'm adding lemon juice to the mix of the different types of fruit that we have. Lemon juice for itself ends up in the top left quadrant, low in terms of effort, low in terms of value. But lemon juice has a dependency towards the banana, or the other way around, bananas have a dependency to the lemon juice. Because when I think about my kids, I know that they love bananas as long as they're yellow. And in order to keep the banana yellow, you need to keep it from oxidating. And lemon juice helps us do exactly that. We can highlight that dependency by drawing a line or an arrow from the lemon juice to the banana. As long as you have very few dependencies and you can visualize them using the arrows in this prioritization matrix, it is still fairly simple to move from this 2-dimensional matrix to a 1-dimensional and prioritized product backlog. But if you have more than one or few dependencies, this whole thing can become a mess. Also, this prioritization matrix does not account for other dimensions. For example, compliance or regulatory. It also doesn't account for urgency in terms of time. There are a lot of other tools that a product owner should usually consider when they want to prioritize their product backlog. But this simple prioritization matrix can already be really helpful. And even if you use other and more sophisticated ways of prioritizing your product backlog, for example, user story mapping, this prioritization matrix comes in on handy in order to prioritize a subset of that story map. I hope this video gave you a great understanding on how you can use the estimates for effort and value to move from estimating to prioritizing. I also hope that the prioritization matrix that we shared with you is something that you can immediately implement in working with your team or individually.